We're delighted that you're with us today. A reminder that our live streams are up on YouTube, Facebook, and on X, and our audience on KTN with us. As you tuned into terrestrial radio around the country and the region and the world, this is The Situation Room, and we get into our conversations. It's a year to the general election, a year less a day, essentially, is what we're looking at.
A year less a day.
Yes, a year less a day. And if Constitution had been followed, today would be the day that everybody is at the polls. But Justice Thande, in her wisdom, said, you know what, let's do this. Let's keep that. But let's ensure that the IEBC implements what you are supposed to be doing constitutionally.
Yes.
We may think it's not a big deal, but it is. And so when we say that we might now start serving 4-year terms, that's not the case. The Constitution said that you should be serving 4-year term, but nobody was ever listening to that. That's the voice of Deputy Party Leader of the Jubilee Party, Jeremiah Kioni, and he's here with us this morning. Good morning.
Morning.
You're well?
Yeah, I'm happy that we have only 1 year more. One year to go, less a day.
A year less a day.
Yes.
Is what we have to
Perhaps
go.
happier that going forward, the pain will only be for 4 years.
Yeah.
In the event that...
Or maybe sad that the joy will only be for 4 years.
In the event that it continues being painful. But it could also be that we will not enjoy good governance for too long. 4 years is not a long time.
Okay.
But, nashukuru Mungu tuko area.
We will have these conversations around the year leading to the next general election in 2027. And for all intents and purposes, anybody who's in elected positions today, as what we are being told from a legal constitutional point of view, is a temporary incumbent. Now,
temporary incumbent.
The road ahead, unpacking governance and political alliances and mobilizations into 2027. These are some of the conversations that we'll have every day as we get towards 2027. So we're glad that you've joined us this morning. Before we get into it, Dennis has taken us to Nouakchott. I guess his first question is for you to tell us where that is.
Yeah. Nouakchott is capital city of?
I don't know.
Mauritania.
Mauritania.
But let me tell you a few things about Mauritania. They have the longest train that spans 2 kilometers and the heaviest. It is made out. It is called the iron ore train because it is used to transport iron ore, gold, phosphate, gypsum, and gold. But another thing that stands out is the fact that they are equally big on fishing because some of the fish that Ndu doesn't like, omena, sardines, you find it there. But they equally have mackerel, octopus, and tuna. And that is what then continues to push their economy. The proverb they give us this morning: if you knock and no one answers, at least you know which door not to return to. How would you interpret it?
If you knock and no one answers, at least you know which door not to return to. But I'm not sure that we are running that with us Kenyans, because we seem to knock doors that are not opening us to good places, and we are still knocking.
Yeah.
And I mean, we knocked 2022. The door may have opened, but the people who made us knock the door are still telling us to knock another door. So, well, once beaten, twice shy.
Twice shy.
Yes.
Well interpreted.
Yes,
Indeed.
And I think I must say, your outfit today is stunning.
Thank you.
That shirt, that hat, perfect.
Coming together nicely.
Thank you. I'm coming to Spice. I was coming to Spice.
I gotta spice it.
Okay.
All right, I see you.
To be careful.
Yeah.
Don't remain spicy.
Indeed. What we're being told now, Jeremiah, is that it's a game of numbers. And that if anybody's not talking about the numbers in this run up to 2027, then they're totally misguided. Would you agree?
I wouldn't agree. Okay. One is that you have to be careful in terms of what numbers are you talking about. There is a narrative of numbers that I don't like, a narrative of numbers that is not even encouraged in our constitution. Another thing of numbers that will always read us the wrong way. And it's the numbers where you look at your number and say that we are so big or we are so small that we don't matter, we are so big that we don't need the others. That mentality is a very poor mentality. It's actually a very primitive mentality. And I believe that, or I hope that when you talk about numbers, that is not the mentality that is guiding us. And I say that because in the recent past, we have had people who have been keen. By the way, one of the reasons why we needed another constitution is because we believe that the 1963 constitution was not respectful of the smaller communities within our country. And we were not treating everybody equally. We were looking at people in terms of the small segments, And so one of the fundamentals was, can we make sure that we have a constitution that treats every Kenyan on an equal footing? All as we are all Kenyans. That's the thing. That's the tribe we belong to. So I say that because I wouldn't want to contribute to that topic without having paid attention to that. And I again want to say that, and let me say this, even my thinking through who can be a good candidate for this country, a presidential candidate, a president for this country, sometimes it was also necessary to look around and say, debunk some of the myths, look around and rely more on what others have done, more than what numbers they can bring on the table. But having said that, at the end of the day, after every election or whenever it is that you're conducting an election, you count numbers. You count people, numbers, how many votes do you get? So when you are also thinking through as you want to win, you certainly want to know what kind of numbers are you putting together. And I will always be proud of individuals who look at numbers from across the country.
Yeah.
When I remember you gave me that opportunity, not once, not twice, not three times. When we were fighting for the party, I kept saying that we have 7.1 million voters, registered members, not voters, registered members. I want to clarify that I never said 7.1 million voters from out Kenya, because I think there are some people who misunderstood me, and they are now saying, they are all over saying I have a 7 million basket of votes. That was not me. Members of Jubilee come from across the country. That's the joy. That's the joy about being in Jubilee. So if I go to Kuria, like I was in Kuria last week with Dr. Fred Matiang'i, we have members of Jubilee wearing kofia zamani. You go to this other place, Kirigolis, you go Isbania. And that is the kind of party one would want to be if you really are looking at this country and wanting to bring a change. But numbers are there, and I know there is the numbers, and we have the numbers to crunch. So I know for you to win, you need the numbers. Yeah, and for you to get the numbers to win, stop looking at your own community. Remember, we have a constitution that talks about 50 plus 1.
Plus 1, yes.
And this 50, the most important is the 1. It's not the 50. It is the 1. That 1 was put there so that no one community should ever think that you can rule this country without the other. And no other grouping of communities should think that they can put the other community away and or wish them away. And I say that because we are now at a very tricky time. If we don't encourage those who are moving around the country looking for votes to stop talking in a divisive manner, then we are again heading towards 2007. And our 2010 constitution had that history as we were writing it. We would never want to go back there. So may I again repeat, for the benefit of those people who don't quite get it when it is said once, 50 plus 1 was to ensure that you stop talking about regionalism, community mobilization and balkanization. Stop talking ill about those who may be fewer than yourself.
Right.
And remember that for you to win, you need every other sector community in this country. You cannot win by wishing others away.
So, Jeremiah, everybody wants to get these votes to form government. And government then comes the governance aspect of it, that then is delivery of services as promised to Wananchi. right? And with that, then now as everybody is running around the country speaking to Mwananchi, convincing them to give them the vote, there has to be the governance aspect on what you bring to the table to change what rather is not working, right? And with that, then you borrow examples from the current government and its style of governance, and you come with your agenda and issues that would resonate to Wananchi. Are we seeing, even as we talk about mobilization running around the country, that the issue of governance we are going to give Wananchi is taking center stage, other than we are going to kura 500, 200? Are we seeing issues being discussed?
Not yet, but we're also seeing people resisting being bullied. And when you see people resist bullying, it means that they are paying attention to something else. It will not be useful for me to behave like I didn't know what was happening last week. You saw the coming together of Munya, Justin Muturi, and the bus guy, and saying that we are tired of being bullied. And I was wondering, why hadn't they given me a call? I had gone through bullying, or I've gone through bullying for the last more than 3 years. When I was being bullied by the same individuals they were complaining about, they seems to have stood aside huku wakichekacheka. Na nikawaambia yenyu inakuja. Na sasa nafurahi kwa sababu walipatwa, lakini pia nafurahi kwa sababu they also were able to see and to resist that bullying. That kind of bullying that has no space if you're looking for, or you're talking about governance in our constitution. Again, it is also spoken by in many articles of our constitution that what should guide you is good governance. And there is Article 10 that talks about national values. And national values have, it also goes to talk about you should not be a person who brings disrepute to an office, a public office, whether in private or in a public space. And all these things speak to the governance, kind of the governance that we are talking about. But let me tell you that it becomes very sad when you, and I have seen many of your stations, maybe not your Spice, but I've seen many people drive out of their stations to go and give interviews in the evenings to in people's compounds, and I have no problem with that. But it becomes a little exhausting when you listen to a person and there is no single policy statement that has come from it. It's just name calling, insulting others, looking for who is a mole, calling others wasaliti. Those are not the kind of things. But the governance structure, the governance issues, your ability to bring change to whatever it is that you're complaining about is also on the table. And I want to say this again because I listened to Munya. And Munya is just one of the many people. It's only that Munya was a little focal. He said, I cannot vote for you if your name is on the ballot. If you hear people start saying they cannot vote for you at that level. By the way, Munya is saying what is already now in being sung around by many people. Tunaanza kupata watu wanaitwa nini? Wasanii wakiiba zile kusema kama ni wewe. You know, it's a very tricky thing. Let me say it, and I know it will get me a lot of lakini nimezoea. Kama ni wewe, afadhali Ruto.
Yeah.
That tells you, it answers the question you're asking. Why are they saying afadhali Ruto? It's because, yes, you may be good in insulting everybody around, but you're not going to bring anything different to the table. So the issue of governance, your ability to bring changes in the governance that is going on, is now on the table. We are not talking about it. Matiang'i has been talking about it every time. Maybe that's why people say they don't see him a lot on top of vehicles. You cannot talk about governance kwa hiyo jua. Na watu wanapiga hii kitu inaitwa nini? Those vuvuzela hapo. You are not going to be able to expose. You'll be happy with that kind of atmosphere permanently. You need to go out, but you will be happy to be in that kind of a space if you have no policy statement to make. Because it needs to be made in an environment where you also encourage people to question you. But I want to agree with you 100%. These Kenyans you are seeing, kuna hizo numbers wameweka hapo juu.
Yeah.
Na tunaongea na wao. Yesterday, as I was driving out of the countryside to come for this morning show, and thank you for this invite. I had a welder, a beneficiary of these rectification programs that we have done, the last mile, because within 5-10 minutes of border ride, you can get a welder. I could get a welder to my compound. Now, as I was leaving, he didn't even know I was coming for this show. But he asked me, as I was walking, Mkubwa, are you people going to give us Matiang'i as the candidate? I asked him, kwa nini unataja Matiang'i na kuna wengi wanakibia hapa na kelele mingi? Kwa sababu yale yalifanya ndio tunaona tangu wakati alikuwako. That's now the issue. People a welder mailo 10 kule Kanyagi ya kwangu ananiambia wanataka Matiang'i kwa sababu waliona yale amefanya. So if you are vying or you have an idea of even influencing people to elect so and so as the president, if that person has no capacity to say what he is going to do different from what William is doing, I want to tell you today, huyo welder wa mailo 10 atapigia Ruto kura. People are now beyond, we are doing the last year. Hiyo miaka 4 ilikuwa ya kutusi Ruto, kusema nini, kusema yote baya. There is nothing as easy as being in opposition. Very easy. Kiona hii baya, hiyo wacha, hiyo baya. This year, it is a question of, yes, ni baya, but what is this that you can, what do you want to do differently? How? Wewe ni nani? Unfortunately, for 1 year, you might not be able to come and tell us what you want to do if you had an opportunity to do and you never did. So you cannot win us over if you have not already won us over your past. And I want to say this also because Clinton said this. He said, if they cannot give you their dime, they are not going to give you their vote. That time, I think they were relying on $1, something. So they were saying, if we cannot trust you with $1, forget about the vote. I have heard Kenyans wakisema, wewe ni mzuri kupiga Ruto, lakini thubutu usimame ndio utachangaa. I want to tell you now, I keep looking at you because maybe I should look. Let me tell you, kama wanasema wewe piga Ruto lakini usituobe kura, they are also telling you, do not lie to yourself. You not tell us where to go. In the mountain, sana na kwingineko, kuna watu wanawategemea ile Raila alikuwa anafanya kule Nyanza. Ya kwanza akisema Oro Alingo amechaguliwa. Kule kwa mlima na kwingineko, because we have been going around, Kenyans are now looking at you and saying, wewe ni nani? Ati unasema nini? It's no longer that wave. Know, the tidal wave. So
the Kenyan voter has evolved.
And the leaders are hoping and playing every day and night. I hope not in Shakahora. Ya kwamba, the Kenyan voter is the old one.
But it's not.
It's not.
So somebody has to be woke to the reality
you
that you can
wake
tell
up.
Kenyans anything that you want, but Kenyans are thinking differently.
And Kenyans want to see a leader who can stand on his own 2 feet.
And what is
sio kwa miguu ya wengine. Ninaenda kwa makanisa siku hizi, na mimi pia nikitafuta kura, nikienda unasikia mtu akisema, na tuko chini ya fulani. Kwa sababu wewe hauna mguu, hauna kichwa ya kusema nimekuja kuomba kula because I want to do XYZ.
So
niko chini ya fulani. You are thinking that fulani is the one who guarantee you vote.
So what we are saying now is that your strategy cannot continually being attacking somebody else.
No.
That you have to tell us what it is that you're doing. What's Matiang'i doing? He's your party
I want to say
candidate.
This.
What is he doing? Or what is his thought that this is what Kenyans need in a leader? What's his...
before I answer that, and because I also would not want to say that I am Matiang'i. I went to a place called Gakoigo huko Kagema, and the young boys who came running around kwa sababu walisikia mtu ya Jubilee wakasema Matiang'i, where do you Matiang'i? So I told them I'm not Matiang'i. So you can actually tell how popular Matiang'i is when you see kids calling everybody Matiang'i. But what I wanted to say is this: we have had 4 years of fighting government. We have a year now of deciding who is going to be our next president and who are going to be in that government. It will be foolhardy for all of us in the opposition to behave like it is 2022. 2022, Uhuru was going home. We had to pick from people who are outside government. It was Ruto versus Raila. 2027, Ruto is fighting for his survival. If you don't factor that in when you're in the opposition, and you start bullying one another, undermining each other, you really are creating a superhighway, an expressway for William Ruto. Remember, he's also a very shrewd politician. He's very good at exploiting these things. And he's also gifted with an ability to, say many things.
It almost sounds like you're campaigning for William Ruto.
I wouldn't want to, and I wouldn't. I don't think I want to have that opportunity at all.
But when I ask you about
what I'm saying is the reality that must hit us as the opposition, because we cannot continue lying to people that we are united, and we are just having disunity, undermining each other, calling others small, lead wheelbarrows, and then imagine we are going to be part of a con game to tell Kenyans that we are organizing ourselves to win.
So then there is no agenda of the united opposition.
There is an agenda
because all that we've been hearing, Jeremiah, is the things that you've been talking: undermining, disunity. You've been talking about mudslinging and throwing each other under the bus, and everybody calling everybody a mole. Sounds like that's the agenda that you've come out to do. It's an
agenda in some of the quarters. But if you ask me, there are people. Let me classify ourselves into 3. There is a section of us within the opposition that is only keen on winning or getting some control in parliament.
Okay.
There's another section of us that is keen on walking into State House and being the house, occupying the house at the Hill. And there is also now another team of people who are keen on changing the governance of this country.
Okay.
And every time you sit and listen to those who are saying, how do you intend to change the health system? It becomes interesting, but it is also boring to those who want to just be on top of vehicles going around. So when you ask what is Matiang'i doing, I like listening to him because he will be able to tell you. In fact, somebody told me there is none among those people he has listened to who understands government. For you to be able to bring change in government, you need to understand it. You need to know when you talk about healthcare, what needs to be changed? What is it that is not working? When you talk about education system, what is it that is not working? Is it just the capitation? No. Is it, he is able to talk to you about the issues that needs to be addressed, without a struggle. When you talk about, so when you talk about policy issues, I would be happy at any given time to bring people from Jubilee to bring our candidate, Matiang'i, to debate the others on the issues of policy. Ukienda juu ya magari, that one, call me, I will debate them. Kwa hiyo mambo ya magari.
The numbers is what we're looking to, obviously, as a year towards the election, a year or less a day. And if you're going to get the numbers, then you're going to have to be appealing to the psyche of this woke Kenyan. And we're trying to figure out what that is.
I think one of the things that I must feel like once you are there, whatever it is that you do will also affect me positively. Again, you will be a person who represents all of us. Who is this person who can unify and think about the whole country as opposed to the region he or she comes from? Number 2, we have issues that have plagued us, and Kenyans have talked about them. Every time you hear them talk about shisha, it means that the issue of health is top on their minds. You want a person who has an understanding on that system, somebody who can bring changes. Before we had then the National National Hospital Insurance Fund. We had the issue of universal health care, and it was tried in 4 counties, and it was successful. We were in the process of rolling out. Now we have the CHA program. We don't want to say that once you are in office, you scrap it immediately. No, because a lot of money has been spent, and the money that has been spent is taxpayers' money. It's a question of looking at it and seeing what needs to be improved to ensure that it covers, again, it goes back to the track we were on universal health care. We had issues like the maternity programs that were there, the Rida Mama initiatives, and they had they were addressing specific issues that were there. Today, if you don't put on the table the issue of mental health of Kenyans and the issues that contribute to the ill health of our, perhaps the mental ill health, you will miss some of the things, like when you talk about Leader Mama, you are removing that burden from people's minds of what becomes of the family if the lady in the house is about to deliver. That whole process, are we losing the child, are we losing the mother, what is going to be the health of both after delivery? That whole process weighs heavily on every family. When you talk about issues like Edu Afia, we had that program also, ensuring that once a child has joined school, all the way until the child leaves leaves the university, you are taking care of the medical. You have medical attention, or medical cost is taken over by the government. Those are some of the programs. If you talk about the issues of security again, today we are all suffering under the control of goons. They are there everywhere. If you want your wedding to be managed by goons, they are available. We become a country where goons have a role to play. And I don't believe that it is a joy of any of us to know that or to think that we have now, subcontracted our security arrangements to goons as opposed to our defense forces or the uniformed team. I mean, that's an important thing. So when you're talking about security, you don't want... From goonism, you'll be hit by terrorists, you go all through these things. And we want somebody who can fix the security, and it can't be fixed because it has been done before. We have the border, a very good source of income for people, but it is also becoming a security issue. Somebody who can be able to say, we need to fix it. You remember we had this menace of Matatu. We used to call it the Matatu madness. That was in our headlines. Matatu headlines. And until Matatu madness, until Mishuki came in, sorted it out, people had faith in him. And he was able to bring changes, and we are still enjoying from those changes. I believe that if you have somebody in the security sector who people have faith in, and that's why I keep mentioning the name of our presidential candidate, Matiang'i. He's been there before. We sorted out the issue of terrorism when there were a menace in this country. The issue of cattle rustling in some areas, we thought it would never have been brought to an end, and he was able to do that. These are issues that are top in our minds when you talk about the economy. And the economy, all these things, by the way, inform the well-being of Kenyans. But even when you talk about the use of the tax dollar, if I may borrow that, how you use the money, it's crucial. We don't want to say that we're just going to fight corruption, but if you go in and you don't you are not after being accountable to the people. I like what Matiang'i keeps saying. He wants a government that is accountable to the people, and he keeps saying, hold me to account. That is a very important, a very major statement. Hold me to account, and I am promising you I will not fail you. And those kind of statements are that, you are making it known to Kenyans that the government that we want to be part of as Jubilee is a government that serves the people. The government that is not the boss, moving around scaling people, but a government that is there to serve the people. And I think even as you want to drift to the next question, one of the things that we have been complaining about as within Jubilee is that we don't like this politicking on top of vehicles 24/7. And you cannot continue complaining about it if you don't have a solution to it. I have always heard, and I believe that this is also the belief of our presidential candidate. We need to reduce the time we spend politicking. And the way we do it is by one of the ways, and it has been suggested in many other documents, even in NADICO, it was there in BBI, expand this executive. Let it not look like it's a winner take it all. Why even the United Opposition is unable to clerk who is going to be their candidates, because once you are the presidential candidate, everybody else becomes has no role. Expand that executive. Have the president, the deputy president. Sometimes some people, Kibaki in 1997 has suggested 2 deputy presidents. He has suggested a prime minister and 2 prime minister, deputy prime ministers. We had the office of the speaker, office of, so split this power. Perhaps bring back the issue of having cabinet coming from within parliament, so that it is not yet that you must be in the executive. You can also be a member of parliament and be playing a role in the executive. That seems to have helped us, Ariro, better than where we are today. So that's also something that will need to be looked at. We are talking about when we were out in Kulia, one of the issues that came out very strongly is representation. They talked about representation to a point where if you didn't note that is an issue that needs to be addressed in this country, again, you'll have failed. We have had it. Some constituencies are too big. Others are feeling like they have been, completely excluded, even if they are not big. The Kulias are saying they have no breathing space from where they are. So these are some of the issues that we'll be putting on the table, and some of the changes that we would want to bring about once we have an opportunity to govern.
So. As we approach 2027, it is clear that no single candidate will win this election by walking alone. That would mean alliances and formations that anyone gets into is a guarantee in one way or the other, but that these alliances as well must make Kenyans and must propel that would-be candidate to forming that. Now, where we are seeing right now are where you're calling it bullying and there is misunderstanding and everything else. Clearly, it is not working in one way, and that must be fixed, or people must walk out. Whilst that's a problem that does exist, and there's bullying that does happen, why are we knocking on this door that is not opening? Why not walk out and find different alliances that will propel you towards?
Maybe one is that I think that's a scenario again that was envisaged with even in our constitution, where he talked about coalitions, and you can have coalitions before or after. That was provided for in our constitution, because clearly you can fail, and you might fail, and looks like we will fail to form a coalition ahead of time. And if we fail to form a coalition ahead of time, it's not the end of the world. It also provides that let everybody run. If nobody masters 50+1, then you go back, number 1 and number 2. So all these scenarios are there. It's only that we are not courageous enough to discuss them. I am not myself going to spend all the time looking for that one candidate. Wacha kila mtu aingie kwa uwanja kama tumeshindwa kuelewana. Whoever it is that gets the second largest number of votes goes in with the number 1. Whoever it is also gets the number 1 and number 2. Wrong and short of it. Number 1 and number 2. Go back and run. That would have helped. Before you take it away, I know how you take things away. That would have helped the opposition to identify their candidate. Right. At the cost of the government. Because I don't even think the opposition has the money to run a nomination process before general elections, so that they have one candidate and then run against William. So one of the ways is that if all of them then go to the field, just like it happened in Orokara, all of them waingie, utaona watu wenyewe. By the way, this Kenyan mwenye tunacheza naye, they are happy to be entertained by all the things we are saying. Lakini kati yetu wanajua nani anaweza leta changes in their lives. And you see them queuing behind one person. But this is the other statement. When we queue behind you, we are not queuing behind you so that you send others to the gallows. No, we are queuing behind you so that you also bring all these other people to the table and work with them.
But Jeremiah, these same politicians
Yes.
are same Kenyans. They're not different from Kenyans, right? And they equally know among themselves who's best fit to run government. So why not just sit and agree on who you'll give the ticket and move?
Because the reason as to why I'm running is different from the reason as to why you are running.
So then you can't come
I
together.
told you I could be looking at it and I want to retire from politics and I must achieve this life of a dream. I could be a person who is, if I'm not in power, I might end up in jail. That would get me running day and night. Or I could be a person who is so bitter that I am going to bring you down, come what may. And there could be this other person who is saying, just give me an opportunity. This country will be better than where we are, and all of us will be feeling taken care of. So that is why they cannot sit and agree as to who can go. If the only reason, kama ingekuwa ni ile bio 100 meters, and we want to win, and we know that you are the one who Imanyara in the country, then nobody will go. But that's not the kind of thing. The interest, the reason as to why we are running, it's not the same.
So then you're wasting people's time by having this conversation about we're going to come united as united opposition and I don't know whatever, because everybody's having meetings. Somebody goes to visit somebody for a cup of tea. Somebody goes to Amunyoro. Somebody comes back and goes somewhere to Kitui. You're wasting people's time by talking about the fact.
I don't think we are.
Because you're saying that the reasons why people want to be president are different. And the thing about unity is that it requires even a semblance of a similar thread amongst everybody. And for me, that would be changing the course of the destiny of the people of Kenya. Now, if the reasons, Jeremiah, for people coming together are not similar in any way, shape, or form, then what are you doing?
What the hell are we doing?
Absolutely.
I want to tell you this. One is that you are as guilty as we are.
Who?
Because Dugu Nadada. You have also given us opportunity to spend a lot of time, and I have talked about it a little bit. I alluded to it earlier. Munakibia tu kwa nyumbani interviews jioni. Na haulizi swali yote, why is it that you are in this thing?
I've asked. And I'm asking
again. So you are as guilty as we are, because I want to hold the media to account. Why haven't you organized debates?
You know, you're very brilliant, Jeremiah. You're an extremely brilliant man. But what you're doing,
I'll tell you why.
That you are going away from my question.
No, I want to come back.
Why are you telling us that you actually are all running for different reasons, but then you've held us to this dog and pony show for the last 6 months about how is a united opposition.
I also told you
shouldn't be a united opposition because you're not united. So can you just all disunite? You've said it. See, can you repeat that? You've said it.
And I said again, I am not going to be part of a con game.
So why have you held captive audience for all this time? And people are saying, oh, okay, they're hiding behind the bushes. They're going to come and tell us tomorrow, this is the guy it's going to be. There's a target on this person.
Waiting for the white smoke.
We're waiting for the smoke, but then there's no fire even. There's no match. There's nothing.
Mimi nitakwambia tena na nitasema na Kiswahili ndio wewe na wengine waelewe. I said here, that is already English. Nisema hapa ya kwamba one of the ways of doing it is carry out a scientific polling. That is being resisted. There's cost element in it, of course, and there are many people who do not want to do it. The other thing I also asked from the media is, why don't you, instead of coming to my house to carry out a solo interview, why don't you call us into Spice? There are 3 chairs, 3 corners here. Hold us to a debate, even if it's 2 hours, 1 hour, on an issue. Let Kenyans make up their minds out there. Again, if a person is, you will hear people resisting that, saying, I'm not available and the rest. We who are outside the united opposition must force this question to the table. Is it going to happen or not going to happen?
But I think you've already confirmed today there is no united opposition.
I'm not
Jeremiah.
a candidate.
It doesn't matter. You're a deputy party leader who is holding brief, not just speculative or perceptive, but you're holding brief for a potential political
In fact, I'm
presidential candidate.
for the most popular presidential candidate.
There you go. And then now you're telling us...
He believes in the united opposition. Yesterday he told me that, remember, forming this coalition is a very difficult thing and it is going to take time. And it calls for a lot of patience. Yeah. Maybe patience that he has that I do not have. But let me say this. When I mentioned the name of Fred Matiang'i, he was working the World Bank.
Yes.
I had not consulted him. My mind then was telling me, if we don't pick a candidate who is likely to be less controversial, less political, and a person who Kenyans can identify, wote wakiwa Vanga, wakiwa wapi kwa sababu wanajua jina lake, a person who Kenyans can rally behind without having been persuaded politically, we will end up where we are. Instead of people who are with me seeing that kind of mindset, I was fought left, right, and center. Many did not understand why I was being fought. But I was being fought because I was denying others an opportunity to come and play politics with us and waste our time by telling us that we are going to produce one presidential candidate, a candidate not based on ability to bring changes in this country, but based on how your ability to mobilize people, whip emotions, insult others, isolate others. That kind of thing, we were resisting it from the beginning. Now we are in the deep end. And I am saying I am not the one to be blamed. For this I can tell you, I tried, I did my best. Nilipambana kupigania chama ambacho kiko na uso ya Wakenya. Yeah. And I'm happy that the changes that were brought in the new of SG and the party leader, so that it was not a Mlima party. But instead of us looking at making it look like a national party, what were we told? Oh, this is now a Mukisi party. But the people who did not want us to get to a candidate who is better for all Kenyans, but who wanted to make sure that they mobilized using other reasons. So all this fighting, if you want to actually get an answer to the question you're asking me, go through the battles I've gone through. Oh, the answer is there. Wale ambao walikuwa, I questioned some people, and I don't want to mention, but there are people I ask, why is it that you are trying to promote bullies from certain communities? Why are you picking the worst in every community and trying to work with that person?
Why can't you just say, Jeremiah, that everybody should just run alone?
Yeah. I said it. We did it in Okalau. Yeah. Kila mtu, kama hakuna maana ya kupoteza wakati mingi, kama hii kitu inaenda namna watu wapange laini pale. People will vote behind, they will queue behind Matiang'i and William. Then we sort them out. The general election. Na hii kitu ikuishia hapo. Na sisi twende, kila mtu aende akatafute kura. Iwe namna hiyo. For me, it's the easiest way to go. And I don't say that because presidential candidate is my presidential, but it's because I had this vision more than 2 years ago.
Apart from...
Wacha nikuambie, after 2022, I knew if we don't end up with a different thing. Because Laida called us, I want to make a disclosure here. Immediately after the 2022 elections, Laida assembled a few of us in Mombasa. And he said he's done with the politics. It's time for you young people to start running around and getting a person. Organize yourself to run 2027. He said that. So in my mind, I knew he was not going to run. Even if Laina was alive today, he wasn't going to run. And it is at that point I started asking myself, I am here struggling with one of the bigger they were on 3 parties, is ODM, is Jubilee, is UDA. What role are we going to play? I'm the Secretary General. So it was not, it's not innocent. If I can continue making those, it's not innocent. My picking on Matiang'i, it was not innocent. He may not have understood it also when he got back to the country. Maybe he also didn't understand the number of people who are up against his candidature. Now it is clearer to him, I believe. Because if it was clear to us 1 year ago, the question that you're asking, which is very painful now, and the answer I'm giving that is really not a very encouraging answer, will not have a reason. Will be clear like it was 2027, 2022. 2017, not 2017 and 2022. 2017, it was Uhuru versus Raila. 2022, it was Ruto versus Raila. To 2027, it would have been William versus Matiang'i. Lakini sasa tumepambana hapa, wengine wamekuja mpaka Munya mwenyewe anakuja kukuambia mimi sitapigia huyo kura.
United Opposition, where Jubilee belongs as well, has been the first agenda, rather what has been said, the first agenda is Ruto must go and one term is a reality. But now we are 1 year less a day to the general election. And you've rightfully said that perhaps we need to start having conversations around agenda and issues coming up, right? And with that, then these over the roof, top of the roof conversations need to stop, and we need to start seeing agenda. As Jubilee, let's talk about Jubilee then. With your presidential candidate, what strategy are you employing so that even as you struggle to be the candidate for United Opposition, that we are seeing agenda being pushed by the Jubilee candidate?
I have mentioned that, and I can tell you that I would be happy to just talk about what we want to do in every of the sectors. Of course, the best person to do that is the presidential candidate himself, but I can also do it because I've listened to him. We have had these discussions, but I'm telling you that instead of us concentrating on that point, we are being taken into side shows because that is where we are best at as Jubilee.
Okay.
We have a track record on every sector. When we went to that place is called, oh my goodness, how do I remember? Forget the last. Not just before Isibania. There is a town way near the border. I'm forgetting the name, but they were there. We were asking, nani areta istima? Jubilee. Ilami nani areta? Jubilee. Every corner of this country, there's something we did. Why? Because we had a clear vision of what we wanted to do as a party. That is the same vision we want to grow beyond where we were. And we can tell you on every sector, there's something we will do that will bring changes to Kenya's life, and it will be done without the struggle.
Okay.
And that is what we like talking about. But before we talk about that, nikikuja kabla nionge, wewe ni Red Wheelbarrow.
Haya,
wewe ni
sawa.
kitu kingine. Hata sasa wachaneni na hiyo sasa. Hii mwaka ni atuongee mambo ya viongozi, na tunataka wapange laini. Kama hawataelewana, waache kusema mwaka ujao. Wapange laini, tupange laini nyuma yao.
And let's see who will be behind.
I think we've equally extended an invitation to your presidential candidate, SpiceFM.
I'll call him immediately after this, and I'll call you to give you an answer.
Sawa, sounds good. But one thing is clear: Jeremiah doesn't believe this United Opposition is united or should even remain. Good morning. Thank you for coming this morning.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.